It's November 22nd. We're just got back to Kansas. It's going on about noon right now. We're just getting settled back into the room, and then got a game plan tonight. We're gonna head out and on a spot we haven't hunted yet. Chad kind of told me about it. It's a big ag field that butts up to private, and we brought the decoy with us this time, so we are gonna head in there. Sounds like there ain't a lot of trees you can get in, especially with the wind that we got tonight. So the plan is to brush in on the ground, throw the decoy out in front of us, and hopefully we can score. But we're back in Kansas. Gun season comes in December 1st. We plan on hunting right up until opener if we have to, but hopefully we can get one knocked down this trip.
It's Monday afternoon, November 22nd. We're back in Kansas. JP and I came into a spot we've never been before. Chad kind of pointed us towards this. He said that they had some good evening sits back in here. It's a big creek system with a lot of ag fields. We're sitting over a cut cornfield. It kind of bottlenecks right here and narrows up to about 50, 60 yards wide. There's a lot of good cover on the private right in front of us. We were actually walking down the creek bank and we jumped at least 2 bucks. They were bedded right behind us here on this island. The bigger one didn't look like he had a clue what was going on. I think he just ran out because the smaller one did. But they headed down the creek system. Hopefully they're not too bumped or too spooked. And they might pop back out here on the field. We hauled the decoy in with us tonight. We're sitting on the ground trying something a little different. There's a couple old round bales that are kind of deteriorating right here on the edge of the field. So we put some cedar branches up in front of us. And I think we're tucked in here pretty good. Oh, it could get interesting. Really cool looking spot. Our wind is perfect for where we're hoping the deer to come from. Kind of blowing right back over this creek. So we've got about 2.5 hours until dark. We'll sit here and hopefully we can get a buck on the field and suck him into the decoy. We're down to about 5, maybe 10 minutes of shooting light. It's been dead. We haven't seen a deer since the walk-in. We've seen those couple bucks that we kicked up, but I really didn't think that would affect us a whole lot as far as deer moving out of this private onto this field tonight to feed, but we haven't seen a deer come out onto the field yet. So just a little bit ago we did think we heard something walking up here in the woods. I thought I heard a grunt, but I couldn't be positive. So we're going to sit tight here for the next 5-10 minutes until we're out of light, and then back her in and it's just cracking light here. It's November 23rd. We're back in the cedar tree we sat a couple different times last week. We had one really good sitting here, and then we had a slow sit. But a lot of movement on the cell camera in here last night. So we're here, a couple good bucks, quite a few does moving through. A beautiful morning, down in the bright upper 20s right now. It's supposed to warm up today. We're expecting the morning to be good anyway. Sit here and see what happens. We did have a guy pull in across the road. It sounds like he's down in the river bottom. I don't know what he's doing, but he just cracked off 4 different times with a rifle last 5 minutes, so I don't know what he's shooting at, but whatever. We'll sit here and see how the day plays out. Another one behind her. No way. Do I need to jam? Really? That's a good sign, boy. It's been probably 45 minutes or so since that doe came through. Nothing behind her. Wind's starting to pick up. It's starting to warm up. So I think we're going to pack out of here. Got a few things to take care of and then come up with a plan for the afternoon. We're due. We're going to kill one here in Kansas. It's just a matter of when. It's coming. Hey guys, welcome back to another First Light in the Field. JP and I are in Kansas right now. We actually just got done sitting for the morning. We're going to pack out of here. Just wanted to talk to you about the Catalyst soft shell gloves here from First Light. Wear these gloves all the time, packing into the tree and out. I'm not a big glove wearer while I'm sitting, but always on the way in and way out I'm wearing these gloves. They're lightweight. They got the 37.5 fleece interior, and they're just really a minimalist glove. Keep me warm, and especially when I'm carrying in stuff, stick, stand, bow, whatever. They keep my hands warm and comfortable on the walk in, walk out. So if you're looking for a good pair of gloves, check out the Catalyst soft shell from First Light. We're going to get out of here and come up with a plan for the afternoon hunt. Heading out for the afternoon hunt. Had a nice little lunch here at the local diner. Took a little nap. Now we're gonna head out and enjoy this 72-degree afternoon. Heading to a spot we actually got a shooter on one of the cell cameras at 10:30. Of a buck heading up into, looked like he's heading up into the small corner of the property where hopefully laid down. And we're hoping he comes back out of there this evening. Looked like a pretty good buck. So that's our plan. We're gonna hop in the tree. It's windy and it's warm. We're hoping this buck comes out of there tonight and does a dance. Bye. sits. It is still getting cool overnight and staying cool until late in the morning, so if they're gonna move, that's probably when it's gonna happen. It's November 24th. We are in a new spot today. Another piece of weehaw that we checked out last trip. And what it is a creek system that runs through a bunch of ag fields. We got cut beans to the east, got cut corn to the west, cut corn to the south, cut corn to the north. We're surrounded by ag. That's what it comes down to. We threw a camera in here last trip, and we just made a mock scrape down here, and almost instantly we had a couple good bucks show up. And they came past here for a handful of days in a row, and then they've been MIA for probably the last 4 or 5 days. Thinking they're probably locked down on does. That's my assumption. But they should be coming off them, and it's just a perfect setup for a buck to be cruising. We brought the decoy with us. He's sitting right over my shoulder here at about 15 yards. We can see quite a ways. Down the creek here, we can't see more than 70 yards, but it kind of wraps around to the west, and we can see all that. If anything's cruising, we're going to be able to see it. The plan is to sit here until late morning, midday if the action's good, and if we can lay eyes on something, I think we got a good chance of calling them in here. We'll probably do some blind calling too if we're not seeing anything, just to see what's around. There's gotta be a buck in there bumping them. Right here. There's a good buck in the corn, JP. It's going right here, right left to right behind that rise. body right now. Excited. Scared shitless. It's just after 8 o'clock right now. Probably half hour ago, JP caught a deer like 600 yards away going across the cut corn into this drainage system. We could tell it was a buck, but it was a long ways away, so we didn't know what it was. Just tell it had a rack on its head. Well, he ran into this creek bottom. A little while later, like 5 does and fawns come out of there, so we figured he bumped him up. Sure enough, 10 minutes later, he comes onto our field. Probably had about 300, 350 yards, kind of right over this rise. And I cranked on the antlers, and he came on a string right to us. He didn't see the decoy until he was about 50 yards away. Then he started licking his nose and postured up. Came right here and gave me a chip shot at 15 yards. But right when I shot, like right as I touched the release off, he kind of shifted his body back and started to turn. And I hit him a touch high and a touch forward. And he wheeled out into the cornfield, and you could see the luminoc just glowing. And I'm praying I got the top of a lung. But we watched him stay on his feet for probably close to 10 minutes. And he just slowly walked across the field, tail flickering, and blood just running down his side. He was losing quite a bit of blood. I'm just praying we got him. Beautiful buck. I don't even know what he was for sure. I think he was an 8. Don't matter. He was great looking deer. Came in and just put on a show. Unfortunately, the shot is less than perfect. It's been probably 2.5 hours since I shot that deer. We just been sitting in the tree killing time. We just had a heavy old 8-pointer come past us at 22 yards. He came from the direction that other buck went. But, came past us perfectly. I feel like that's a given. Like you sit in a tree after you shoot something. Something like that always happens. At least to me it does. It's been probably close to 3.5 hours since the shot. What we're looking at here is right where you guys watched him hit the edge of this cornfield. As you can see, the ground's just painted. There's a lot of blood coming through this grass. This is where he hit the field. He was still running at that point. I believe he ran. He kind of looped right out here. He didn't stop for the first time until probably 30 or 40 yards over here. So we're just gonna stay on the blood. Hopefully it stays good. Well, we've trailed this deer, I'm gonna say 400 yards. And we were hoping that he wrapped back down into this bottom where the thick cover was. But he didn't. When we lost sight of him, he just kept coming across this cornfield. And there's a low maintenance farm road here. And this is actually the boundary. That's public. This is private. Unfortunately, he crossed the road into the private. We looked at the aerial. He's heading right for. The closest cover is a draw, probably another 200 yards from us. There's a pond, and it looks like a bunch of bedding. And he's heading straight for it. What we're gonna do is go back and pack all of our stuff that we left at the tree. Pack it back to the car. And the person that owns this, I believe, lives in the farm just up the road here. So we're gonna go knock on the door and try to obtain permission. See if we can't get in here after this buck. I don't feel good about how far he's gone without laying down. At the same time, he's lost a lot of blood. And there's a decent amount of bubbles in it, so hopefully we got along. That's the plan. Pack out of here, try to go get permission, and get back on this blood.
It's going on 12:30 now. It's been 4.5 hours since the shot. We are rolling into this farm right now. to ask for permission, beg for permission to take up the blood again. This deer's heading straight for a wooded draw with a pond in here. So we're gonna go in here. We don't really want to scare the guy with the camera, so I think we're just gonna leave the camera rolling in the car. Hopefully the wireless audio picks up the conversation. Hoping for the best here. Hi Scott, Brennen Nading calling. I just stopped in and got your number from Jennifer.
Okay.
I hit a deer in the weehaw stuff over off of and it crossed that low maintenance road and crossed into your field. I was wondering if I could go in there and look for it.
Sure. Yep. You go right ahead. There's just a few cattle in the lot, but there's nothing out and about. So yeah, you go ahead.
I appreciate it, Scott. Thank you so much.
Pretty nice one.
Yeah, it's a nice 8-pointer. Yeah, he's pretty nice.
Find it. Send me a picture if you would.
Sounds good. I can certainly do that. I sure appreciate it.
You bet. You're welcome.
Thank you, sir.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Huge sigh of relief. Now I just got to find this deer. Went through some hoops to get permission, but we got permission.
Let's go find him.
Let's go get him.
He's like looking at something. The closer one don't give a shit, but that back one's looking at something, head bobbing, smelling. We have trailed this deer for all of 1,000 yards, if not closer to 1,500. He brought us all the way down the first ditch along this riverbank, and we're coming up out of here, and we spotted 3 does out in this grass, and they were all kind of like head bobbing, looking out in this grass. We eased up here. JP actually picked a rack up probably 30 yards from us. It looks like it's down. But I'm gonna go up there at full draw and make sure, but I think he's laying right up here dead, boys. If that's a hanging shed, I'm gonna be pissed. I would just stay right here. The wildest, craziest track job I've ever been a part of. We snuck up on this deer. He was laying somewhere right here, I think right over here. We seen him from about 40, 50 yards away, and he had to have been laying on his rack, and we thought he was dead. So I had JP stay back. I started creeping up towards him. All of a sudden his head goes, and I'm at like 25 yards. But this grass is so long, he was kind of tucked in. I couldn't see anything but his head. So I sat at full draw for, I don't know, it seemed like 2-3 minutes. And he finally turned his head and kind of put it down. I crept into like 7 yards, and I shot what I could see. And he ran 20 more yards and tipped over.
It's November 24th here in Kansas. We had a picture-perfect November morning. Slipped into a brand new piece of weehaw that we had never stepped foot on until last week. We came in, speed scouted it, threw up a camera, instantly started getting some good bucks on the camera. So we came in and we hung a solo stand and made sure all the shooting was good. Came back in there this morning, threw up the camera stand, and it worked out perfect. We actually seen a buck. I'm thinking it was this buck. JP caught him crossing the cut corn like 600 yards away from us, and he ran into another pocket. All of a sudden, 5 does and fawns come out of there. A little while later, we catch him going across the cut corn again. We bang the antlers together, and he comes into like 15 yards right up to the decoy. When I shot, he kind of ducked and turned all in one motion, and I hit him a little high and a little forward, and we waited 4 hours to take up the blood trail, and it is now 4:30, almost 5 o'clock in the evening. We just walked up on him. We had to shoot him one more time. He was still alive, barely breathing, but he's in my hands. He's got my tag on him, and I could not be happier with how the Kansas 2021 season played out. I got to thank JP for hanging with me. It's been a grind, not just here, everywhere we've been this fall. Another buck for Dad. And another huge shout out to Chad Maves. He kind of put me in this area, gave me a couple starting points, and I can't say thanks enough to Chad. But what a incredible way to finish the Kansas season. Great buck, beautiful buck.